YouTube, how are y'all doing? For those that are new to my content, I go by Ishyabui. Welcome to another video. And I think this is going to be the first video I post on this channel regarding this topic. But for those of y'all that don't know me, I like a bunch of things. You know what I'm saying? Anime, music, movies, a whole bunch of pop culture stuff that gets pushed on this channel, right? Right. Another thing that I like is wrestling, and grew up with it. And I didn't get back into it until like a couple of years ago. Now I can say that I'm fairly deep into the whole storylines and stuff like that. And honestly, that's what brought me back into wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Look, younger me kind of took a hit by all of this, but once somebody ended up telling me that wrestling was fake, you know what I'm saying? And let's be real. I know to a degree it's not as real as, you know, people are led to believe when they're younger. But the fact of the matter is these are still very much very human people performing very athletic feats, things that can wear down the body, things that can induce pain. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still something worth giving its credit to. And on top of that, the storylines are peak. When the storylines are good, they're great. But unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about the highs of wrestling, right? And more specifically in WWE. Today, we have a video from Russell Mafia titled "Every Dumb Mistake That Effed WWE in 2025." Now, from what I've been hearing, this year hasn't been a great year for wrestling, which is sad considering the fact that this year and very recently, John Cena has been nearing his retirement. At the point of me making this video, we've already watched his retirement. Matter of fact, we also know a few other pieces of information related to the masked man that interfered with the big War Games match at Survivor Series. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it was Survivor Series. I get those things mixed up sometimes. But regardless, here I want to check out some of the things and some of the opinions that Russell Mafia has and kind of just chime in on it. All right.
As the year comes to a close, these are all 20 mistakes that ruined WWE in 2025. Because when the year started, it looked like 2025 was going to be one of the most memorable years in WWE history. And you had Cena's retirement tour. You had names like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Punk, Rollins, McIntyre, AJ Styles, and LA Knight on the roster. You had the Netflix deal, and it seemed like there was no way WWE would screw this up. But then Triple H ended up fumbling once again. So without further ado, this is every stupid mistake that screwed WWE in 2025. Let's start at the start of the year with the absolute baffling booking of the Royal Rumble. The 2025's Men's Rumble should have been a layup. John Cena was in his retirement tour. CM Punk was finally healthy and over as hell. The story wrote itself. Instead, WWE had Jey Uso win the whole damn thing. Jey might...
Not gonna lie. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I can see this as a mistake. In retrospect, I can definitely see this as a mistake. But in the moment, considering the fact that I don't even know because I can't sit here and say, like, considering the fact that what was going to happen at Elimination Chamber is going to happen. This is as good of a pick as we're going to get. We didn't even know that the events that were going to happen at Elimination Chamber were even going to happen in the first place. So going at this from face value, we can think of 2, 3, 4, 5 people that could have deserved this matchup more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I I can't think of this as like a bad decision once all those things are put into mind. Now, if there are any other valuable people that would have been able to, you know, benefit as much as Jey Uso did during this time, I would like to know. Because honestly, once you take CM Punk and John Cena out the equation and save them for Elimination Chamber, which I'm assuming is why they didn't win in the first place, yo, like the next best option is either Jey Uso or LA Knight. And we need somebody that's going up against the that's going for the heavyweight championship. And I don't even think LA Knight was on Raw at that point yet. So like it's really just Jey Uso.
Be a solid mid-carder and gets the crowd yeeting, but having someone who was clearly not ready for the main event spot win when you had names like Cena, Punk, Reigns, Rollins, and even LA Knight in the picture, that's straight up tone-deaf booking. The company...
And that kind of goes back to what I just said though. Like the whole, like all of these people that he just suggested, 95% of them are SmackDown.
But having someone who was clearly not ready for the main event spot win when you had names like Cena, Punk...
Okay, Elimination Chamber.
Reigns, Rollins...
Elimination Chamber. These two. Roman is on SmackDown, but he's kind of everywhere. Rollins is Raw. But if you take him in mind, he's an Elimination Chamber too. He's a part of that whole storyline. Miracle, what's going on with you? What's going on? I'm telling you, you got to turn on them notifications, dog. And speaking of notifications, if you guys haven't done it already, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and turn on that notification bell so you guys know when I'm dropping as I drop. All right. But let's go ahead and get back into this.
And even LA Knight in the picture.
SmackDown
that's straight
at the
up
time,
tone-deaf booking. The company took one of their most organically overstars and overexposed him to the point where a significant portion of the fan base started groaning every time he appeared. And this brings us to the equally baffling decision on the women's side. If Jey Uso winning felt tone-deaf, Charlotte Flair winning the Women's Rumble was the perfect example of Triple H playing it safe once again.
Yeah.
The women's division in 2025 was stacked
at that point,
with
she
names
was
like
already
Chelsea
injured,
Green,
wasn't
Bayley,
she?
Liv Morgan, Naomi, and other stars who had been grinding all year. Yet WWE defaulted back to the same old formula. To be fair, Charlotte's work in the latter half of 2025 with Alexa Bliss made her character more likable. But that came months after the Rumble decision already left a sour taste. Both Rumble winners set the stage for what would become a recurring theme of disappointment throughout the year. And nowhere was this more painful than with John Cena's retirement tour. John Cena's retirement announcement at Money in the Bank 2024 gave WWE a gift, an entire year to craft the perfect farewell for one of the biggest stars in company history. This should have been easy. Instead, WWE turned him heel at Elimination Chamber with absolutely no long-term plan. The initial moment was shocking, no question.
Yeah,
but everything
this is a
that
great
followed
moment.
was a complete mess. The heel run lasted from Elimination Chamber through SummerSlam, and during that stretch, WWE wasted precious months of Cena's final year. This should have been WWE's easiest booking assignment of the decade, and they completely botched it by having Cena wrestle in pointless tag matches and face Logan Paul. But speaking
now, I will most definitely agree with this. As far as the whole John Cena retirement tour goes, I do understand that at some points you are going to have to try to wrestle the people that are relevant now and things of that nature. I get it. But I don't like the idea that like we're getting I didn't like the idea that we were getting all of these matches with people that we really didn't care about him facing so late in the year. If you're going to do that, give us the BS matches in the beginning of the year in like the less important PLEs, and give us the crazy matches, the ones that we've been waiting, the ones that the fans like, you know, make up as dream matches for this retirement tour in the latter half. Because like, why are we going to sit here and just sprinkle them around, miss people, throw John Cena in matches that are going to end in like 2 minutes? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense at all.
Of botching easy assignments, the
Mr.
entire
Cena has
build
a
to
lot of veins
WrestleMania
in his
41
arms.
was a complete
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
But he's pretty
WWE
built.
had all the momentum on the road to WrestleMania following the buzz of Cena's heel turn. But instead of capitalizing on the momentum, the build for WrestleMania 41 felt completely hollow. When WrestleMania finally arrived, the show felt underwhelming from a creative standpoint. Sure, there were some good matches, but good matches aren't enough when the stories behind them are non-existent. And nowhere was this more evident than the Mania main event.
Yeah.
Travis Scott's involvement in the WrestleMania 41 main event has to be one of the dumbest booking decisions Triple H has ever made.
Unfortunately, I do have to agree with this. And the only reason why I say unfortunately is that for a large amount of years, I've regarded Travis Scott as one of my favorite artists. If not my legitimate #1 favorite artist. But for him to come into the picture and do what he did, and for it to fall as flat as it did, it was no point of it happening. See, when Travis initially got into the mix, I thought they were gonna go to like this little Hollywood rock type of thing, but instead of The Rock, it was gonna be John Cena. And of course, with The Rock already being there, he was gonna just like, feed it all into John Cena. Basically give him like a whole second persona almost. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't work. Mostly because, well, I can't even say because I'm not in the creative rooms and I don't know exactly all that was going on. But for what I understand, things fell through with Travis. Travis was committed at one point and then he wasn't committed at another. So you can't. That whole situation just sucked.
The main event of WrestleMania was reduced to a publicity stunt. WWE prioritized a few days of Twitter buzz over the integrity of their biggest show. This pattern of chasing short-term gratification over meaningful storytelling continued throughout the year, and it also gave us one of the most ridiculous character changes of 2025. When Seth Rollins turned heel and aligned with Heyman, fans expected the next evolution of the Architect into something more dangerous. Instead, Rollins turned into just another generic heel who cut the same promos every other heel in WWE cuts. Rollins as a heel lost the edge that made his previous heel runs memorable. He wasn't the Architect dismantling the Shield. He wasn't the cocky champion holding the company hostage. He was just a guy who was now a villain because WWE needed someone to face CM Punk. And this brings us to another character assassination that broke the heart of every wrestling fan.
And this is what pissed me off right here. The fans wanted R-Truth back after it was a situation to where it seemed like I was about to say Travis. R-Truth wasn't going to be signed for another year or for another extension, whatever the case may be. You set him up, or you guys give him the liberty to set himself up into a serious character, a serious person, someone to be taken seriously, and that lasts for all of what? 2 weeks, maybe?
R-Truth has been one of WWE's most versatile performers for years. When WWE released him in 2025, the backlash was immediate. The company quickly reversed course and brought him back at Money in the Bank to one of the loudest pops of the year. And for a brief, shining moment, WWE had something special. Truth returned with a new edge, calling himself Ron Killings again and demanding to be taken seriously. Ron Killings cut his hair on live television, and the whole world was ready to see this new version of Truth. Instead, the storyline was abandoned almost instantly without any payoff. Within weeks, Truth went back to the comedy character. Everything that made the Ron Killings transformation special was erased as if it never happened. WWE took a performer who was ready to show his range, gave him one of the year's most memorable moments, then reduced him right back to where he started. But speaking of wasting momentum, few stories in...
You say he looks like a killer. And it's funny that you say that because Buddy is very good in the ring. Buddy has been great in the ring for multitudes of years. But the overarching like character was just that, a character. It's not really someone to take seriously. You know what I'm saying? He could add a lot to a story, but he's gonna be like the gag character or like the one that everybody laughs at or laughs with, depending on the storyline. But there hasn't been too many times since he's been in WWE where they're like, okay, we're gonna make this a serious thing. We're gonna make you a competitor and let you flesh out all this other stuff. And unfortunately, that's what we wanted at this time, and we didn't get it.
2025 were more frustrating than LA Knight's booking.
Yeah,
LA Knight's trajectory in
I'm gonna
2025 perfectly
let him handle
encapsulates
this.
everything wrong with Triple H's creative philosophy. Here's a guy who got himself over organically. The catchphrases were trending, the merchandise was flying off shelves, the crowd erupted every single time his music hit. All WWE had to do was strike while the iron was hot. Instead, they hesitated. They played it safe. They gave Knight mid-card feuds that went nowhere, stop-start pushes that killed his momentum, and losses in matches when it mattered. Throughout 2025, Knight was consistently positioned right on the brink of breaking through to the main event scene, only for WWE to pull back at the last second. But LA Knight isn't the only wrestler who's been a victim of Triple H's bipolar booking. Drew McIntyre came out of 2024 looking like an absolute star.
I wouldn't
His
laugh at
feud
that man.
with CM Punk was legitimately the feud of the year.
Bro.
And coming out of that rivalry,
He's
he
actually a
looked
great guy,
destined for
from
the
what I
world
know.
title scene and a marquee match at WrestleMania 41. Rumors suggested McIntyre was going to face Roman Reigns at Mania, which would have been perfect given his history with the Bloodline. Instead, he got Damian Priest. And while Priest is talented, he's nowhere close to Roman Reigns. From there, McIntyre's booking in 2025 struggled to regain any momentum. He lost back-to-back matches to Cody Rhodes, and Drew went from being positioned as a main event player to feeling like he was floating in creative purgatory with no clear direction. But speaking of questionable creative choices, one particular match left everyone scratching their heads. Sometimes WWE makes a booking decision so baffling that you have to wonder if anyone actually thought it through. Gunther versus Pat McAfee is one of those decisions. The match.
Now, granted, I tried to have fun when I watched this match, and it was fun for what it was. But for the amount of talent that we have on this roster, why are we facing a retired kicker who doubles as commentary? Why? You want to know the nickname I gave Cody? Let me know, Miracle Goddess. Let me know. What do you call Cody? And don't piss me off.
The match itself was fine for what it was, but that's not the point. The point is that the match did nothing for Gunther's character and actually made him look weaker for struggling against a non-wrestler. If WWE wanted to give McAfee a match, fine, but it didn't need to be against one of their most carefully protected monsters. And speaking of wasting carefully built characters, Brock Lesnar's return embodied everything wrong with WWE's approach to nostalgia acts in 2025. When Brock Lesnar returned at SummerSlam, the pop was huge. The question, as always, is what WWE does with that momentum. And the answer in 2025 was absolutely nothing. Lesnar showed up, destroyed John Cena in a one-sided squash match, then basically vanished into the ether until War Games. This was one of Cena's final dates with the company, and WWE had him get demolished with no comeback, no angle, and no follow-up. Lesnar didn't need to be reestablished as a...
No storyline, nothing. Literally, Buddy just showed up, came on other shows for like about a week, another like 2 weeks maybe, and then beat up John Cena again. There wasn't even no type of fight, no type of like pushback, nothing. Brock Lesnar really came in and did this for 5 minutes straight, both times.
Monster. Everyone already knows what Brock Lesnar is. Squashing Cena in his retirement tour achieved nothing except wasting one of his remaining matches. If WWE wanted to do a dominant squash match, they should have given it to someone like Braun Breaker or another young star who could have used that moment. Instead, they tried to recapture the magic of SummerSlam 2014 by having Brock destroy Cena again, except this time it served no purpose whatsoever.
No.
Brock Lesnar's return was the perfect example of WWE chasing instant gratification. Get the viral moment, generate some Twitter buzz, then move on without any substance behind it. And nowhere was this lack of...
And the crazy thing about it is, like, now that he's saying it, I can see it. it's like they were making these bookings and making these matches as if nobody was actually watching the matches. Or better yet, as if nobody was watching the shows that led up to these matches. Like nobody was paying attention to the storylines.
Investment more apparent than in the women's division. The Women's Intercontinental Championship had its moments in 2025, particularly with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria bringing credibility to the belt. But the United States Championship on SmackDown has been a total disaster. Chelsea Green winning the title was a genuinely beloved moment by fans. But then she dropped the belt to Zelina Vega, whose reign was completely forgettable. But if Zelina's reign was bad, what WWE did to Julia was borderline criminal. She won the US title, but then simply vanished from TV for weeks without explanation. However, this pattern of squandering potential extended to the Women's World Championship scene as well. Io Sky was red hot after winning the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. But then, WWE proceeded to do absolutely nothing with her for months. The Women's World Champion barely appeared on television. She wasn't given meaningful feuds, she wasn't positioned as the centerpiece of the Raw Women's division. They completely killed the legitimacy of her title reign by having her sit in catering rather than being showcased as the top star of the division. But the booking failures weren't limited to the women's divisions either.
Dog. The reason why I'm rubbing my face like this is because off of all the momentum that they had in freaking WrestleMania the year before, everything that he's saying is correct. You had all the munition, all the ammo, all the angles that you could have had to keep Io in the spotlight, and not saying that she's not deserving of it, but you could have put Rhea on the back burner just a little bit. Just a little bit. But here we are, having to insert the same one or two people into the main card situation every time. Thank God Naomi was in the picture, because without her, things would have got real wicked. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Stephanie, because without her, things would have got real wicked. Why do we have Becky's on the... I need you to go into more detail as to what you're actually asking. Because to be honest with you, I can't understand what you're saying. Or what you're trying to insinuate, possibly. The tag titles are a joke.
For a brief moment...
Thank God he went to SmackDown first. For the talent that they have on that tag team division, the storylines are boo-boo. The storylines are boo-boo. I don't understand it.
In early 2025, the SmackDown tag team division was actually cooking. But then the Wyatt Six returned, and suddenly every single team on SmackDown forgot they were supposed to be individuals with their own goals and rivalries. Everyone just turned their attention to the Wyatts and stopped being interesting characters in their own right. Meanwhile, over on Raw, the World Tag Team Championships became virtual props. What's particularly frustrating is that Triple H built his NXT reputation partially on the strength of his tag team booking. On the main roster in 2025, tag team wrestling has been treated as filler, and both divisions have suffered as a result. Speaking of suffering, the way WWE handled John Cena's character in the summer was absolutely baffling. If wasting half of John Cena's retirement tour on a directionless heel turn was bad, retconning that entire heel turn just days before SummerSlam was somehow even worse. WWE spent months building Cena as a heel, but then, right before SummerSlam, WWE just retconned the whole thing and flipped him back to being a babyface. No satisfying conclusion to the heel character arc. No dramatic moment where Cena saw the error of his ways. He just stopped being a heel one week, and everyone was supposed to pretend the previous months never happened. They treated months of television like it was meaningless, which trains fans to stop caring about anything WWE does because it might all get erased next week anyway.
Thank you for saying this. Oh my gosh, this was so annoying to see, because for the entirety of this man's career, he has been perceived and noted as the good guy, the guy to put the whole show on his back, to carry the company. He's been the face of the company for almost 20 years. So why why are we putting him in a situation to where he does the one thing he's never done his entire career, and then we act like it doesn't matter? That's like being in a boxing fight with somebody that only uses their right hand, and all of a sudden they hit you with a left hook. You're going to be caught off guard. Yeah, we always understood it was a possibility, but we understood due to the history of everything that it was going to be very unlikely. So in the event that it actually happened, we were really, really, really hoping that it was going to lead to something. I'm not a WWE fan, but that heel to babyface thing really did confuse me. Yeah. And then you have people like Miracle in the chat. Even from a perspective of not understanding or not knowing the history behind it, for someone to completely change characters that fast with no conclusion, no type of resolution, nothing, just like, oh, I'm happy now. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. All rainbows, sunshines, and unicorns. When last week you were ready to tear down the very business that you're praising. Like, I don't understand it.
And while Cena's booking was frustrating, Cody Rhodes' title reign was straight up boring. Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40 was one of the most satisfying moments in recent WWE history. But since then, we got one of the most underwhelming World Championship runs in recent memory. Fans can anticipate exactly what he's going to say in promos, exactly how his matches are going to play out, and exactly how he'll respond to any challenge. When a character becomes that predictable, it's impossible to stay invested. The Randy Orton storyline has been teased for what feels like an eternity at this point.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for mentioning it. I'm not gonna lie, this dude is hitting on all cylinders. Why hasn't this man faced Randy Orton in a match yet? If it has happened, why haven't I not seen it? Why hasn't that been made a big deal? This is the premier championship for this company. Why are we sitting here acting like this match ain't supposed to happen? What's going on, Jay? I'm sorry that you coming in while I'm like low-key crashing out, but it doesn't make sense when you have characters, when you have people that have this type of history with each other, this type of story built around each other, so much history. Yes, I said history twice. That's why I'm trying to make it that much like of a thing with y'all. Why hasn't this been made a thing yet? This match should have been happened. It should have happened a long time ago.
Every few weeks, WWE hints that Orton might finally challenge Cody, then hesitates to pull the trigger. But speaking of pulling the trigger, WWE panicked and pulled the trigger on the Vision breakup way too early. When Seth Rollins had to go on hiatus due to injury, WWE decided to break up the Vision without any build-up. This was supposed to be a huge moment months later at a big pay-per-view. Instead, WWE played it out on a random episode of Raw for a viral moment that did nothing to elevate anyone involved in the angle. But while the Vision breakup came way too early, WWE has kept other factions together long past their expiration date. The Judgment Day has been a fixture of WWE.
He's cooking. He is cooking. Now, before he gets into it, I feel like the reason behind all of this is because Liv got injured. She got injured, which pushed all of the plans for this group breaking up back, which left us to make up random matches to, try to keep the fans satisfied until they're able to do whatever they're trying to do. And yes, I do agree with you.
Nearly 4 years.
I agree with you.
Throughout 2025, WWE has teased tension within the group approximately 7,000 times. Finn looks angry at Dominic Mysterio. It seems like something is about to happen. Then everyone calms down and we go back to square one. It's a total waste because by this point, WWE could have given a solid singles run to Finn instead of ruining his aura. But when it comes to ruining things, nothing comes close to the damage they did to John Cena's legacy with his final match.
Now, I know we've all been making the jokes. I know that everybody has their opinion on it. But while I don't like the fact that John Cena lost in his final match, when you think about it logically, It all makes sense. It all makes sense. The whole purpose of that pay-per-view was to pass the torch, to pay the energy forward, to show light on the people of now, and you know, the people that are coming up. That's why you had so many people from NXT fighting, and Gunther's the biggest heel that we have so far. Who do you need to pair up with the biggest hero, the biggest face in the business? You need to give us the biggest heel. And the only person that's capable of delivering in that type of capacity was Gunther. You look at everybody that was in that freaking tournament, it's a no-brainer. It's a complete and utter no-brainer. Even with me, I was mad that some of the newer people, not the newer people, well, yeah, some of the newer people weren't winning any of their matches in the tournament, or some of the people that came through, like Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder, they didn't get a chance to win a match in the tournament. All of them were kind of in like low-key squash matches. I don't like the fact that it happened, but it makes sense. And plus, if that match and that event had John Cena's like hand in it, and these were all decisions that John Cena ended up making, I have no problem with it. Because if that's how he want to go out, that's how he want to go out. And I can't get mad at that, for real. Yeah, for him to tap out was... Oh, wait. I forgot. I didn't even have the thing.
But when it comes to ruining things, nothing comes close to the damage they did to John Cena's legacy with his final match. John Cena built his entire legacy on never giving up, on inspiring kids and adults all around the world to never quit. But Triple H made the same guy tap out in his final match to a sleeper hold. And
I can't say that I like that. Honestly, you should have let him pass out. You should have let him pass out. If you were gonna make him lose like that, you either gonna lose by pin or you're gonna lose by submission by tapping out. I mean, not tapping out, but passing out. You shouldn't have let him tap.
And you still have some Triple H bots defending this decision.
You know what I'm saying?
Poetic.
Let him pass out with a smile on his face. That should have been the way it happened.
And
that would have been hard.
The worst part is that they aren't even going to capitalize on the momentum Gunther has right now. He's probably going to be jobbing to Jey Uso or Logan Paul in just 3 months. No wonder WWE keeps pumping out slop like this when their brainwashed fans will eat up anything that's served to them at this point. But if you want to relive a time when WWE was actually good, check out this video next.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely get it. Like the whole thing about this year, I feel like a lot of injuries got in the way of a lot of things, whether it be freaking Naomi getting pregnant, Liv Morgan getting hurt, Seth Rollins getting hurt. I feel like a lot of things put a lot of like wrenches in a lot of their plans. But as far as like their biggest options, I feel like a lot of those things could have went well if you would have just made the obvious choice, or if you would just made the normal choice. Sometimes swerving the audience ain't the best decision to make. Sometimes that's not the best option to keep people on their toes. Yeah, definitely should have gave the that die with a smile treatment. Like it would have been fine that way. It definitely would have been fine that way. But regardless, y'all, if you made it this far, leave a like. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to more videos like this. And I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this year so far. Is it really as bad as a lot of people are saying, or is it not? Me personally, I think everything's has been pretty valid. Everybody's upset. makes a lot of sense.